comedian Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So the migraine is cleared up. I missed Ask Boyle yesterday, but I'm bringing it back today. It's a pretty long one today, so I'm just going to bang straight into it after a little bit of housekeeping. So you know what time it is. It's Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question you'd like answered by one of the greatest minds of the generation or any generation, comedian, philosopher, waterproofer, then head to my website, boylecomedy.com, section there for Ask Boyle, ask your question. Then, more importantly, Fucked Up Friday, there's a section there, send in some stories, need the stories, so do that, and I'll get to it. Anyway, let's get to this week's Ask Boyle. So, this week's Ask Boyle was just sent in by fucking Ben. Just straight up old fucking Ben. And here it is. I turn 30 later this year. Can't say I'm looking forward to it, but it is what it is. I've got a shit creative degree from a shit university and subsequently spent about 6 years in full-time bar work. Age-old tale. I escaped hospitality nearly 2 whole years ago, and I've just been working in pretty dead-end shit office jobs. I've been in my current place for almost a year, and I'm lucky to get 2 days a week work from home. But the 3 days in the office are soul-destroying as I have to listen to retarded middle-aged women talk shit for 8 hours a day, whilst I try and do work that I don't even care about. I'm in a slight rut. My job is fairly easy and manageable. I've had a lot worse, but I think I'm caught up in a position where an escape is difficult. I'm fairly unskilled with a lack of qualifications, and I'm sort of past the point of wanting to go back to college whilst paying off my mortgage and other living expenses. But I might change my mind in due course. I've kind of resigned myself and my goals in life to rely on my stock investments to help me get to an early retirement. Thanks to your good self, I'm invested in Iron and a few other companies with high growth potential. I've got around $7,000 invested in Iron at an average of $16. Not bad, not bad. So I think I've got little to worry about in terms of ever being in the red from this point. Iron's by far my biggest holding, but I'm consistently dollar cost averaging into Iron and my other companies slowly but surely. As of typing this, my investments are sat at about $31,000. I've done some basic, almost desperate calculations at how much I'd need to retire and live off the dividends for the rest of my life so I don't have to work again. If I can get to around $250,000, $300,000 and reinvest it all into dividends, then maybe work an extra few years for a bit of extra security, that should give me a rough dividend salary between $20,000 and $30,000 a year to sit and do fuck all. My portfolio hit an all-time high of around $45,000, $46,000 when Iron reached 76 back in November, and I rode it out during the recent crash after their earnings last week, adding during all the dips. My portfolio halved to around $23,000. I can handle the swings as that's part of the game, but I'm just not sure if my dividend plans are fucking retarded or actually hold some merit. I can't stress how done I am with work. I don't want to have to do this shit until I'm 70, only to be too old to enjoy my twilight years. Obviously, there's a risk if one of the dividend companies I have crashes and dies, but my aim is to balance out the portfolio to minimize the risk. For my portfolio to basically 10x at this point will take a lot of time and balls to hold through. And again, there's still an element of risk even after I reach that goal. What are your thoughts on the concept of living off dividends? Is it too risky to live off, or is it worth it to escape the 9 to 5? Oh, bend me over and call me Sam. You have come to the right place. Now, I just want to make this clear before we get started. I am no fucking investor, and nothing I say is actual investing advice. Even though if you had taken pretty much everything I've said in the last 5 years, you'd have a lot of fucking money. Except if you tried to roll that into any gambling tip I've ever given, then you'd be completely broke. So that's out there first, and now we'll get to it. So I also have had the dream of living off dividends. For those who don't know what a dividend is like some of these companies you can buy on the stock market pay you a dividend at the end of every year. It's a certain amount per share, and they just deposit it into your trading account. Some of them are fixed, some of them are connected to how much the company earns. It's a little bit variable. MicroStrategy, the Bitcoin treasury company, they have a couple of products where they give you 11%, but I would not buy any of those. The thing is with me, like the reason I was able to take the Bitcoin move, the reason I was able to commit to Bitcoin was I put in like unfathomable hours into researching it, trying to understand it. Like even still, I listen to it maybe like 10, 15 hours a week. Still, after all these years of just Bitcoin podcast shit. I read Twitter shit. I read articles. I still do all that sort of shit around Bitcoin. So like I was able to go hard on Bitcoin because I put in the effort. I felt like I understood it well enough to bet the house on it, as you might say. And then along the way, because I'm fucking devouring so much information and shit regarding Bitcoin, I stumbled upon MicroStrategy and also Iron and Cypher, which are Bitcoin miners that were AI plays as well. So it's all in the same ecosystem pretty much. And the thing is, I don't know anything outside of that. And I don't trust myself to know anything outside of that. I said I was going to buy silver 9 months ago, and that was only because my mate Dino was giving me the tip on fucking silver. And then I did a little bit of research on it and it all checked out. But that was the same thesis of the devaluing of the dollar, increasing commodities thing, which coincides with the Bitcoin thesis. So it wasn't a big leap of faith to do the silver thing, even though it never went through. It's the same thing. So anything outside of this, I don't know. I tried to pretend I was an investor there for a little while. I was like, well, maybe I'll do a barbell fucking portfolio where I fucking heavily weighted at each end, safety bets and fucking risk assets. But I just don't know what's going on. Even holding these stocks like iron and all that sort of stuff, I didn't even know the companies can dilute you. Like they can inflate their shares. To raise money for the company, they just issue more shares, which fuck your shares up because there's a bigger pool of shares. It's the same bullshit as the actual currency. So you need to know the management of these companies and know that they're not going to fucking dilute your shares and fuck you over. And you need to know that they're going to do what they say. And most of these CEOs never hit their targets. or they'll cook the books for a few fucking quarters to get their bonuses, and then it all comes out in the wash. So I don't really know what's happening on the stock market. I don't know anything about companies. I don't really know anything about dividends. Everything I've done outside of the things that I know have failed. Like failed spectacularly. Even there's some other stuff that I put money on that I was like, yeah, it might be the same as Iron and Cypher and MicroStrategy. I'll put some money in it. Let's see how it goes. But I wasn't 100% confident. So I never said anything on the podcast. And most of those have gone to effectively zero. But they weren't huge bets. But they were more like a teaching instrument for me. It showed me that I still know absolutely nothing. And I only know a couple of things about 2 or 3 things. Like, I don't even know everything about Bitcoin. Like, if you ask me a question, I'd still be like, oh, yeah, a couple of this and that, fucking whatever. So, I'm not even too sure I can give you any advice whatsoever about what you want to do there. I know the capital you have to have to live a comfortable life with inflation and everything. It's not going to be what you think it is. 250,000 in dividend stocks, and like your conservative dividend stocks, I think they pay like between 4 and 6% or something like that max. So yeah, like you're looking at 20,000, unless you're living like deep in the jungle of Vietnam and trying to live off that, you're fine. You're talking more like 2-3 million. Then you can start living a like decent life. But then when you're betting on dividend stocks, from what I can tell, you are betting on stability. So this company is going to pay this every year. The stock market's going up. I can't fucking see a world where anything's stable over the next decade. It's going to be an absolute fucking roller coaster. It's going to be like, it's already getting crazy, but like, it's going to get fucking crazy. So even thinking about like the current financial system existing in a decade the way it is, I just can't see it. That's why, like, even if Bitcoin fails or whatever, everything else fails as well. So it's not just going to be Bitcoin by itself fails. Like everything's going down. But the thing is, you're 30 and you have a decent kitty there, and you're able to dollar cost average in, which is just, for those of you who don't know, that's just buying every week. So no matter what the price is, you buy every week, and over a long enough period of time, it just averages out. You usually get in at much better rates if you dollar cost average over time. But you're 30, so you've got a little kitty, a decent kitty, and you've got time for that to compound. So there's really no rush. With that kitty, even if you compounded that at 5% a year, I don't know what that is. You'd have to do the math, but do it over 30 years. So when you're 60, what that would be, plus you're adding to it, you're not in such a bad position as long as you don't fuck out too hard. If I was you, though, I had to go way more aggressive than you. Plus, the only thing I felt fucking comfortable with was Bitcoin. So, and it's the only thing I fucking still feel comfortable with as well. Even though I've got Iron shares and Cypher and MicroStrategy and all these fucking companies, I really, really can't wait to get out of them and just put it in Bitcoin and forget about investing for the rest of my life. I don't want to have to think about anything on the stock exchange again. I'm not interested. I just want to funnel it into Bitcoin, put it on cold storage, and then just forget about it. But I'd get the fuck out of your job if you can. But that's a story for another day, I suppose. My advice is the world is going to be very volatile over the next decade, but you've got 30 years. I would be thinking about when you're 60. So don't stress fucking about what you've got in the bank now. 30 years is a long fucking time. Even if you increase that 5% a year for 30 years, you're fine. You're going to be all right at the end of it. The only thing I would think about is what is going to be left at the end of this decade after everything has been burnt to the ground. That's what I would be thinking about. You really want to be looking at like solid, hard assets, and you take your pick of those. You're looking at like silver, gold, Bitcoin, I suppose property, but property's got fucking some big issues coming. Anyway, it's not as bad as you think it is. Your job is, but that's another episode. Anyway, fucking, I hope that helped. That'll do for tonight, and I'll see you the fuck later.